It's time for the Cheeky Force to revive the military of Earth based on what Cell did to them. Yeah! What's up everybody, StevDez here. One of the characters that we've always wanted to see way more character development of and just felt like he was offed way too early was Raditz. But I have several scenarios on the channel that has Raditz as a character, and I agree with this. So, sorry to say, but what if Raditz turned good isn't gonna come up on this channel. But what is on this channel is one of the favorite members of the Ginyu Force actually surviving Namek, and thanks to Frieza being the usual jerk, he was revived on Earth to join the Z Warriors. And thanks to your vote, one of his friends joined the Z Warriors. Also thanks to your vote, him and his friend were able to create the brand new Cheeky Force! Jeice and Birder learned the instant transmission just before the android saga kicked off, making them extremely helpful and actually saving Goku's life. And King Kai's life, and Bubbles and Gregory, you know, the main OGs of Z. And so we rejoin our posing heroes, or maybe are they heroic posers? This is what if Jeice turned good. In the 7-year time skip, the Cheeky Force would gain notoriety similar to the Red Ribbon Army in Dragon Ball. Through training troops personally, Birder and Jeice are able to get common humans to at least be on the level of Frieza soldiers, which actually helps out in the end. There's a lot of bad guys that wouldn't even think about going against the Cheeky Force. However, they do keep the Earthlings training to a minimum and keep themselves buff because in a huge military like that, yeah, you're gonna have a few people with not so good intentions that you have to get rid of quickly. That's where instant transmission comes in handy. However, before it kicks off as a huge Earth-wide defense force, Jeice and Birder would go to the people they know and see if they were interested in joining the Cheeky Force. Vegeta would naturally decline the offer. He has no intention of joining any sort of military that is even close to the Frieza forces or the Ginyu Force with these two clowns. Unless he was the commander and get to make some rules. Birder and Jeice decide it's probably best to let Vegeta be Vegeta. Gohan, however, he's in. He's inspired from his childhood and how he saw the Ginyu Force, and two of his childhood heroes that inspired the great Saiyaman are right in front of him, asking him to join this military. But he wouldn't join it as Gohan. He would be known as Captain Saiyaman! Naturally, he's in charge of a lot of the group training, which Goku finds okay, interesting, but it's not really martial arts, it's just training to do a job. That's not as fun. Naturally, Goku wouldn't be part of the Cheeky Force. Yamcha, though, he's in on the grounds that he doesn't have to do any of those funny poses he heard about from asking Krillin about this. In fact, Krillin's in too. He doesn't have Android 18 in this timeline.
Nope.
He doesn't really have a family to protect, so why not join a force that protects Earth, his home? Kinda works. Not to mention, am I allowed to say Curl Dog? Am I allowed to say Curl Dog? Someone look that up. In any case, Krillin would be a bachelor to many women because, well, he's one of the strongest members of Earth's defense force. That's gotta get him some clout. Maybe he'll get a wife in the future. I didn't really elaborate on that. Let me know in the comments below if you want that to happen. However, speaking of androids, 17 is totally for this. At first. Honestly, he finds it interesting, and it does captivate him a little bit to kind of be a superhero sort of thing, but once he realizes how much work it actually is, he's not very into it. He'd prefer to be a park ranger. And for those of you that are about to comment, well, 18 should be alive, right? No. 18 was killed by Birder, not Cell. So therefore, she doesn't get brought back to life. Hundreds of men and a few noteworthy women, such as Videl, who sees Gohan in this uniform at school and kinda wants to know about it, and then finds out it's about the Cheeky Force. She's into that. That's where that relationship would bud and launch. would join the Cheeky Force as well.
You gotta play for the winning team, you know.
Through Capsule Corp's financial help and through Jason Burr's enigmatic personalities, the Cheeky Force grows as Earth's superpower. Eventually, we would get to the World Martial Arts Tournament where Goku decides he's gonna be there, enjoy time. And Vegeta wants to prove himself in the ring too, show up Kakarot and all that. That would still happen, but I figure replacing 18 and Mighty Mask would be Jeice and Berter. They'd give a huge show when it comes down to fighting Hercule in the last round, and ultimately they would act like they've winded each other out so much while ignoring the champ, allowing the champ to show off and do his thing. That happens as far as the World Tournament. However, things do play out up to Majin Vegeta's appearance. Jeice and Berter thought they should stay back and, focus on defending the people in case something bad happens. Naturally, something bad does happen in the form of Vegeta almost committing mass homicide. Almost, because Berter and Jeice together are able to block the blast, launching it into the air, and it exploding. Things would also continue from here, with Berter and Jeice ordering their troops to defend every city there is from anything that could come. And yeah, some troops do end up losing their lives here, but some people are able to leave. Evacuation would be a lot easier for the cities that Majin Buu does play with. Jeice and Berter are on the lookout when Goku tells them the unfortunate news about Vegeta and Gohan dying, which they don't know that Gohan is in the land of the Kais training. With the duo there, they're able to strut their poses nicely, and learning the fusion dance from Goku, Jeice and Berter are able to demonstrate it so Piccolo doesn't have to. However, Goku goes back to Otherworld, and when it comes down to training camp and the boys asking to see the fusion dance one more time, Piccolo is hesitant, but Jeice and Berter are there, so they're happy to. Jeice freezes in place. He's in position to do the dance with Berter, and Berter just looks at him concerned, like, why isn't he taking the pose? Jeice looks at Piccolo in deep thought, and then smiles at his idea. Mate, this is your fusion camp now. You're the one that should be doing this.
He's right, You are the drill sergeant of this fusion camp. You really should demonstrate proper form.
Absolutely not.
Come on, Piccolo. How are the boys supposed to take this seriously if you won't?
Fine. One time. So you better be paying attention.
Fusion! Ha!
Holy dooly! That's so bright! A light erupts from the two fighters as standing alone is one single fighter. A fused version of Berter and Piccolo dubbed Berkalo. Berkalo? But how? How can Berter and Piccolo be even close to be able to fuse? Well, you know what? I think it's time for some more super complex mathematics with Professor Dez.
Get off my board! Get off my board! Get off my board! Get off my board!
Hello and welcome to Super Complex Mathematics with Professor Dez. Today we will be discussing the concept of the BMI, otherwise known as the Body Mass Index, and how that pertains to a technique in the Dragon Ball universe known as Metamoran Fusion. If you would please for this lesson, take your time to review these simple vocabulary terms. That means hit the pause button. For this lesson and many that involve formulas such as the BMI equation, it is always handy to have a calculator available. Now, let's get to the fun part. And so today, we will be using the BMI to figure out if Berter and Piccolo truly, in this timeline, are compatible with one another. when it comes down to the 3 points we have here, the combatants must have similar power levels, a similar height, and a similar size. Tell me, Stepdad, are these fighters of similar power levels?
Well, yeah, they actually were able to deflect Majin Vegeta's blast. That's a Super Saiyan 2, maybe a little stronger than Super Saiyan 2 blast. They had not only the speed to get to the blast before it hit, but enough power to deflect it. So it's fair to say that they are on par with Piccolo.
Ah, so you see, we can check this off the list. And so, we must look at the character's height now. The height of Berta is 8 foot 2 inches. And the height of Piccolo, which would be right here, is 7 foot 5 inches. By changing them from feet to inches. And then adding them with what we know as far as inches. This is how we convert. And so we know that there are 12 inches in a foot. I believe there is 12 inches in my foot. I lost a lot of my elasticity during the war, but that is why I have these. These provide elasticity for me. And so, we will multiply the feet by the 12. So, 12 times 8, 8 times 2 is 16, plus 1, as 8 times 1, plus 1 is 96. And then we will add the inches. So, plus 2 makes Berta at 98 inches tall. Now, for Piccolo, we do the same thing. 2 times 7, plus, I keep forgetting nobody's here. 4 times 1, 7 times 1 plus the 1 is 84. Plus the 5, we get 89. 98 minus 89 equals a difference of 9 inches. If we are talking seriously, with this floppy ruler, I will show you exactly how long 9 inches is. There is 9 inches. It is not even longer than my arm. It is not a big comparison, but in order to see if 9 inches is truly too far for these fighters, let us compare with previous instances in the history of Dragon Ball in which the fusion technique was used. As you can see on this board, we have the heights of all the fighters who have participated in the fusion technique. But of course, we do not have Krillin. I don't think anybody matches Krillin. As you can see, Goku is different from Vegeta by 4 inches, and Goten is different from Trunks by 3 inches. This could be another reason why the fusion did not work with Piccolo and Goku, because they did display the fusion technique. Would they not have fused at that point? Goku was not a Super Saiyan. This just proves that Goku's base form was far more powerful than a traditional Super Saiyan from the Android saga. Therefore, Piccolo's power level could in fact be caught upon. But there could be another reason. If we were to compare the sizes of the fighters, we would get that Goku's size would come to 69 Shut up, stiff dish! 69 inches. On Piccolo, we have already figured out as 89 inches. That is a 20-inch difference. That is more than 1 foot. So you see, if the idea is that both parties control their power levels to be similar, like Trunks had to lower his power level to match Goten, Goten had to raise his to match Trunks, the height difference could have been a good reason why Goku did not fuse with Piccolo, because Goku was not aiming to match his power with Piccolo's. We go to the third thing. Our body mass index, which is categorized by this equation. BMI equals the kilograms of a fighter divided by the meters of how tall that fighter is squared, or to the power of 2. 2 is our exponent here. What this means is that we will be dividing the kilograms of the fighter by their meters being multiplied by their meters. 2 to the power of 2 squared multiplied by itself. If we do a simple Google search, we will be able to deduce the weight and the height of all the fighters we need to know about. Now in the first column, we will provide the weights of all the fighters in pounds. Piccolo, being in the Namekian, I do not know what kind of health that is sitting at 256 pounds, which must be heavy for a slugman. Berta is close at 242.5 pounds. These are the weights that we must convert to kilograms with which to use in the equation. In order to convert these into kilograms, we must understand that 1 pound is equal to 2.2 kilograms. Divide by 2.2 all the way down the board. A fraction symbol is just the same as a division symbol, in which we have Piccolo weighing in at 116.36 repeating kilograms. And Berta, as far as his weight in kilograms, 242.5 divided by 2.2 yields the result of 110.227 repeating on the 27. And so, we have the first part of our equation. Now we must find their heights in meters. But there is a slight problem. We have inches. Well, according to the Google, 1 meter is equivalent to 39.37 inches. So, since we will again be going from a small unit to a big unit, we will be dividing. This time, we will divide each one by the 39.37. And now, Piccolo and Berta. Piccolo comes in at a stand of 2.26 meters, but Berta just outdoes him at 2.49 meters tall. That is almost a quarter of a meter. Think about that. 9 inches is about a quarter of a meter. Go figure. We have done it! We have determined the body mass index equations for each fighter that has participated or will participate in this what if in the Metamoran fusion. What this will do is determine just how close Piccolo and Berta are, in which to decide if their size is familiar enough to each other to make Metamoran fusion count. Let us begin. So you see off the bat, Goku and Vegeta are only 0.2 away from each other when it comes down to the body mass index. Let us see how the children fare. So you see, the children were able to make it work with a difference of 0.62 as far as that being a difference. Considering through the franchise we have seen these two views and these two views, it is safe to say that if Piccolo and Berta are within 0.62 of each other, or somewhere around that, it is quite possible for the duo to become this Berkalo. Piccolo's body mass index comes up to be 22.73. Berta's body mass index comes up to be 17.7. Unfortunately, Berta's size is not quite up to par when it comes down to fusing with Piccolo. However, this measurement is based on 9 years prior. In the Namek saga, Berta has been gravity training with Jeice. It is quite possible that his 110.23 kilograms could in fact go up. Let us do one final conversion and make his 242.5 pounds to a flat 300. Being that gravity training is so effective for several Z fighters that have participated in it, it is quite possible that Berta may have bulked up in his years on Earth. This is not over. And so, let us change 300 pounds to kilograms. When we take 300 and divide it by 2.2, we get the total of 136.36 repeating. That will be the measure of our kilograms. And so, we will be now plugging in the formula. I will not be able to hear you, but around the world, we must have the drum roll as I plug in the last equation, starting down here with PEMDAS. The exponent must come first, then the division. 136.36 divided by 6.2001 gives us a body mass index of 21.99. To suggest that we have not seen the limits of Metamorph fusion on mortals in the dragon world, I do believe that it is possible for Berta to weigh a little over 300 pounds to close the rest of the gap between him and Piccolo by the time of the Buu saga. So, is it entirely possible that Piccolo and Berta would be able to perform the fusion technique given the estimates shown before us today? Yes! It is entirely possible, given the circumstances of this what-if, that Berta and Piccolo would have a similar body mass index, the 9 inches would in fact be negligible, and the training with Jeice would make him about on par with the Namekian warrior we love so much. It is entirely possible for the character of Berta in this what-if to fuse with the likes of Piccolo, creating the fusion warrior Berkalo. This was super complex mathematics. I hope to see you again. I'm not going to do it. No. I am not going to. I'm not going. No. No. No.
Get off my board! Get off my board! Get off my board! Get off my board! Get off my board!
Wow. Thanks, Professor. And if you guys have any questions for Professor Des to answer from the Dragon Ball universe using real-life science, go ahead and leave your comment below. I would love to make Professor Des's segments a mini-series for the Friday Funs. But thanks to that, you see that Berkelow's power would be immense, and it would be entirely possible in this timeline. With Berkelow being a thing, and trying his power out against the two boys going Super Saiyan, out in the open, the boys realize that fusion is nuts. Because they fight Berkelow in Super Saiyan form, and Berkelow is able to keep up effortlessly. Fusion draws out the amazing power of these two, and the personality is still focused on their mission. This would inspire the boys to take fusion training far more seriously than they did in the anime, causing them to not mess up the first couple times when it came down to fusion, and causing them to have a bit more of a head on their shoulders because Berkelow is able to stop Gotenks before Gotenks completely fails against Fat Boo. Piccolo does admit that he wouldn't mind doing that dance again, but it would have to be an emergency situation, buy them time against Boo, something like that. I don't know, Berkelow is a pretty interesting fighter. We do still get to Super Boo on the lookout, and when time is up and Super Boo doesn't want to wait anymore, Berkelow does come out. They do know that Berkelow is unable to go up against Super Boo. Therefore, they do tell Jeice and the kids to get into the hyperbolic time chamber and get as much training as they possibly can. The human extinction attack also ends up not killing as many people. There are some clever recruits that know to use their little ki blasts that they're able to muster in order to stop some of the blasts and have them blow up in the air. Some of the Cheeky Force, in fact most of them, do lose their lives, but for the most part, humanity is spared. With Jeice teaching them, they're able to learn the fusion technique very well. Unfortunately, I don't see things play out any different than they did in the anime, with Gotenks losing against Super Boo and Ultimate Gohan coming to him losing, and then Vegito happens. The difference here is that there is not only Fat Boo, Piccolo, Gohan, Goten, and Trunks in Super Boo's body, but there's also Jeice and Burter. Everybody would die just like they did in the anime. However, there is something that Jeice and Burter could do if they were alive. But luckily, they do come back to life, just like everybody else, thanks to the Namekian Dragon Balls. And thanks to sensing Super Saiyan 3 Goku going up against Kid Buu, they're able to instant transmission everyone to help out. Gohan, Piccolo, Burter, Jeice, Goten, and Trunks all go to help Goku and Vegeta in their battle against Kid Buu. And even though Jeice and Burter are calling to the members of the Cheeky Force, we do still get Hercule doing his thing and calling for energy. This time with Berkelow, Gotenks, Vegeta, Fat Boo, and Gohan all fighting Kid Buu, that's long enough to get a big enough Spirit Bomb to kill Kid Buu outright. The Spirit Bomb would actually work in this timeline. And so with the end of the Buu saga ending relatively better than it did in the anime, this is where we're going to leave things for right now. Because, Beerus has to wake up. So what do you think the Cheeky Force might bring to Dragon Ball Super? What about Resurrection F? Do you think the Cheeky Force is strong enough to handle Frieza's soldiers? What about Jeice and Burter when they see Frieza? Go ahead and leave a comment below. For more what ifs in the realm of video gaming and Dragon Ball alike, such as the episode of the Bardock what if that I have going on, coming out tomorrow or the next day depending on when I can get time, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.
Like the video if you enjoyed it, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.
Alright, pretty good video, but why is there 30 seconds left?
You thought you could get away from me. You thought you could
Nope, 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 nope. I'm out. Nope, 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 nope.
Well, someone's not getting invited to my birthday party.